see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right.
High-tech stuff here.
1, 2, 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, the men that supply my musical dreams. Put your hands together for David and Jacob Bernz.
Thank you very much. Oh, we're not done?
I think we owe Tom about $200 now for our plugs for the store. I'm tallying it up, but it's never ending, so it's like monthly payments, I think, like a firm. Anyway, here's an Emmylou Harris song that we copped a little bit here called Michelangelo.
Last night I dreamed about you. I dreamed that you were older. You were looking like Picasso with a scar across your shoulder. You were kneeling by the river. You were digging up the bodies buried long ago. Oh, Michelangelo. Last night I dreamed about you. I dreamed you were a pilgrim on a highway out alone to find the mother of your children who were still unborn and waiting in the wings of some desire abandoned long ago. Oh, Michelangelo. Were you there at Armageddon? Was Paris really burning? Could I have been the one to pull you from the point of no returning? And did I hear you calling out my name? Or was it forgotten long ago? Oh, Michelangelo. Last night I dreamed about you. I dreamed that you were flying on a blood-red painted podium where the heavens were dividing and the angels turned to ashes. You came tumbling with them to the earth so far below. Oh, Michelangelo. Last night I dreamed about you. I dreamed that you were dying in a field of thorn and roses with a hawk above you crying for the warriors slain in battle from an arrow driven deep inside you long ago. Oh, Michelangelo. Did you suffer at the end? Will there be no one to remember? Did you banish all the old ghosts with the terms of your surrender? And did you hear me calling out your name? Well, I guess that I will never know. night I dreamed about you. I dreamed that you were weeping, and your tears fell down like diamonds from a love beyond all keeping. And you caught them one by one in a million silk bandanas that I gave you long ago. Michelangelo.
We've been working up that one for a while. Which one you want to do? You do one and then we'll do the one that the one Mary Poppins come up for Outbound.
Oh,
So do
what else are we gonna do?
do one of yours. Do There Goes the Vine or Hard to Write a Good Song or Going Old.
Let's go wait close the vine, I guess.
Okay, that's an October song.
Yeah.
What key you want?
Let's see. How about E flat?
E flat.
Yeah.
Can you do D? Or no, E flat's good. Yeah, that's it. It's one of the few songs I know that is written about this time of year, October, and the leaves changing. And my father here wrote it before I was born, I think, right?
Yeah, I must have been in my 20s at my parents' house, sitting in my second floor room looking out the window at the colors changing and wondering if there was a song about the leaves changing. I couldn't think of one, so I wrote one. And staring through those trees, I could see the neighbor's house, a man there named Lee Hayes, the singer and songwriter himself.
Trivia, anyone know who Lee Hayes was here?
We have one. He was a member of the Weavers, and he co-wrote If I Had a Hammer with Pete. And he had moved there because he was an old friend of my dad's, and he used to visit so often. My mother got sick of him being there messing up the kitchen, said, if you hear this often, you ought to buy a house. And she was kind of kidding, but he bought the house next door, so there he was.
He took it literally.
So this song is called Red Goes the Vine. If you drive up and down the Taconic now, or 84, you'll see the vines go red first, the Virginia creeper, and then the maple and the ash and everything follow pretty closely. Red goes the vine, and the maple goes to fire. The ash and the beech and the hickory and the oak to follow. October time, where the circles of our life to find, seems to plant the circles of tomorrow. Now there's a road that goes from my town to a town 3 miles away. When I was young, I didn't know a soul there. But we circle around the sun, and we see the work here to be done. The world seems to get closer every day. Red goes the vine, the maple goes to fire. The ash and the beech and the hickory and the oak to follow. October time, where the circles of our life to find, seeds to plant the circles of tomorrow. I grew up near an old man. He had a wheelchair for his legs, and he spent the time attending to his garden. But there was wisdom in his face, and as he sat there in one place, the songs he wrote went running round the world. Red goes the vine, and the maple goes to fire. The ash and the beech and the hickory and the oak do follow. October time, where the circles of our life to find, seems to plant the circles of tomorrow. I often tell people that Lee Hayes' life story was kind of like a big circle. He grew up in the farmlands and hills of Arkansas and helped organized the union movements out there, black and white sharecroppers. Then he came to the city, met up with people like Woody Guthrie and Sis Cunningham, E.C. Leahays, you know, the whole, well, he was Leahays, but you know what I mean. All the people at the People's Songs Bulletin in the folk movement of New York, that's who he hung out with.
The people that inspired people like Bob Dylan.
Yeah, started writing those songs like, not like If I Had a Hammer, but he also co-wrote Wasn't That a Time, which was the Weavers' theme song and the name of the movie they eventually made about the Weavers, and a few others. But when it came time to retire, he found his way back to the hills outside of New York in Fort-on-Hudson. And it wasn't quite a farm, but he had a big garden and started growing things. In fact, my father used to say, look at these neighbor kids working on your little land there. I guess you got your own sharecroppers, Lee. A few weeks before he passed on, he showed me 3 poems that he wrote. This one I like best. If I should die before I wake, all my bone and sinew take, put them in my compost pile. It'll decompose me for a while. Worms, water, and sun will have their way, returning me to common clay. All that I am will feed the trees and those little fishies in the seas. So when corn and cabbages you munch, you may be having me for lunch. And then excrete me with a grin, chortling, there goes Lee again. It'll be my happiest destiny to live and die eternally. So carry your seeds with you, plant some every day, and water them until they come to flower. For every creed and race, we'll make this world a better place. Children will inherit what we sow. Red goes the vine, and the maple goes to fire. The ash and the beech and the hickory and the oak do follow. October time, where the circles of our life do find. Seeds plant the circles of tomorrow. October time, where the circles of our life do find. Seeds to plant the circles of tomorrow.
Mary, do you want to come join us for our last one? Tommins.
Hang on.
We need spoons for a train song. Yeah. This is an F sharp. That is correct.
Those spoons play an F sharp?
They can play in any sharp you need them to.
Any sharp you need. You gotta sharpen them?
Well, you know, train tracks are fun.
Well, we're gonna play an F sharp, so just put a capo on those spoons.
Is that me?
Someone stepped out of the way of the mic.
No, you need it. Let's put a capo.
Okay.
Here's a song called Outbound Train. I wrote it.
Can I get, because I took that mic off so I could have your guitar in. I know what I do.
It's all right. We'll get picked up.
It'll pick up. It'll pick up.
I moved away a little.
I'm just doing a train in the background.
Rock me in your loving arms when the light turns green. I'll be standing out here waiting on you, Valerie. I'll be standing out here. Yeah. Something like an outbound train. Something like an outbound train. Something like an outbound train keeps me so far away from you. Something like an outbound train. Something like an outbound train. Something like an outbound train keeps me so far away from you. Yeah, I'll be standing out here.